Can you hear that? No?
No.
Okay, good. That's my neighbor downstairs.
Oh, okay. And welcome everyone to Religion Zero.
Dun, dun, dun.
Number 26. For this week, of course, with me hosting, we're going to talk about a real spicy topic of, is Halloween of the devil? Now, I'd say this is mostly a topic reserved kind of for mainly like the Christian side of things. Like people tend to, I guess, Christians are really hung up on this topic of, certain holidays, certain times of the year. Like, is the devil like, more powerful, less powerful? Is Lucifer in retrograde?
Do spells
like
set at midnight have more power? All
yeah,
these types
yeah,
of things. So yeah, hopefully we can explore a couple of those avenues.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely with just the current environment. I think there's even books written about Halloween, aren't there?
Yes, of course there are.
By Christians, like your kind of your family organizations and such.
I do want to shout out Heather for this topic. So Heather's been a very loyal watcher and listener. She sent me a private message which I shared. Oh, what's happening, CONK? You all right, man? You frozen?
Only emotionally,
Oh, he really is frozen.
Oh yeah.
And welcome. Morning. So we're just doing a quick on our introductions and such, but all the books, all the topics. I don't think I've heard of any like, at least in person, didn't hear any like Halloween is of the devil sermons.
Not for a while. We haven't been in circles that would preach that in quite some time.
Yeah. Churches nowadays will probably they'll rename it, but they'll do something Halloween-ish.
Yes.
What are
I mean, before we get into it, let's do some catch-ups now that we have
I was gonna say
full panel.
So how's everyone doing? How's it going, Brooke?
It's going well. It's going all right. It's getting colder out here. So as you see, I'm wearing my sweater / jumper, as the English would say. I'm trying not to use my heater, my like essential heating, because I haven't gotten a bill from this new company yet, and I don't know what my fees are going to be. So I'm kind of waiting until I get that to figure out how much I can use.
Right.
I mean, since living on my own out here, this is the first time I'm on my own. I've got all my own bills. Everywhere else it was kind of included in the rent. So, just learning the ropes, just kind of figuring out how it's going. So other than that, excited for today's show. I'm excited for the show after this, the 10K Run podcast. And yeah, looking forward to today's discussion.
How's it going, Corey? How's your week been?
It's good to see you, man.
It's good. First and foremost, I do have a new microphone. Does it sound okay?
Well, what type of mic is that?
It is a Toner $30 microphone. But
nice.
I got sick of using my old headset one, which is this one, because you have to manually charge it. It it dies very fast, and I got sick of doing that. So I just got like a real plug-in one. So that's fun.
Excellent.
Does it sound normal?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, sounding all right, man. Is it USB?
Well, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been we decided to switch our strategy for my house because long term wasn't going well. The only people that applied were super sketch. So I am now Facebook marketplacing, trying to furnish it, and I'm going to go the Airbnb route. So we'll see how that goes. It's holiday season, should work out. Most people are throwing away crap. So the market's good for Airbnb and the market's good for buying furniture. So that's nice. But that's about it. So yeah, I've been spending all of my free time running around and messaging people and trying to get stuff. Dude, I got some $2,000 sofas yesterday for $260. Wow. So it was a huge steal. No, they were custom made, like some weird brand, Bartlett. it was like this rich couple that was getting divorced, and they just wanted to get it out of their house, and they never used it.
So did you tithe your savings?
No, never.
Did we hit on tithing? I can't remember if we hit on tithing.
I don't know.
I think it was part of our money episodes.
The money of
Yeah.
possibly. That's true. It's true.
Yeah. So yeah, Halloween, guys. I mean, I think we're
Oh, nothing's going on with you, Amos?
no, nothing. Absolutely nothing. No. Everything. It was an interesting week. Lots of things. I know Brooke and I have talked about it. Some things that have been going on. So yeah, there's stuff going on. You know, I think that's all I can really say. Sorry if I seem a little off, guys. I literally just woke up as I do every week. So the first hour or two of doing any podcast typically is a little slow.
It's in a few state.
Yeah. I basically, yeah. So
I was gonna say I'm kind of feeling that way too, because I quit coffee this week also, which is
why in God's name would you do that?
As to be a good role model for my clients.
Okay. Okay. I mean, did you have like more than 1 cup a day kind of thing? How many cups were you having?
Like, well, I have a coffee maker that makes 5, and I drink half of it a day, so 2.5 cups a day, which wasn't much, but also like American coffee has way less regulations and way more sketch shit in it than other countries' coffee. So I am purposefully slowly cutting out anything that could be considered addiction for myself in order to help support my clients. You know, you got to get relatable, yo.
It's very big of you.
I'm hip and in the know with these cool kids.
Yeah.
You're going to start doing TikTok now? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. Hello, fellow children. Don't do drugs unless they're the cool ones.
Good times.
So,
Good times.
yeah, kind of just before you came on here, we're quickly touching on the topic for the week is going to be talking about it's specifically kind of how Christians approach the whole, is Halloween of the devil. I don't know if any of the other religions really tackle this. Buddhists don't care.
Yeah, they don't care for the most part.
Muslims probably don't care either.
Yeah,
I mean,
they don't
Halloween
celebrate
is
it.
mainly celebrated in the West, isn't it? And really just America.
Well, not just America. I mean, the English love their Halloween
Mainly,
as well.
I'm saying like the focus,
It's a Western export, definitely. But even in Trinidad and Tobago, we had it. So the Caribbean still does it. A lot of the colonies do it. Japan, huge Halloween in Japan. I mean, oh God, well, the Japanese want any excuse to dress up.
Yeah.
So it is, I think, right now a worldwide phenomenon.
Right. So yeah, it's probably taking off now. But yeah, so and I just remember like there's been books, articles, videos, probably even sermons in the past from big name preachers that all try to tackle this and address it and how it's I guess it's almost kind of on the same order of what Brooke and I have heard in the past, like the whole yoga thing. How yoga is of the devil. Like,
all right, yeah.
If you do certain yoga poses, you're inviting in demons and whatnot into your life. Halloween kind of has that similar, I guess, reputation among more fundamentalists or even just typical Christians that will believe in some sort of a more apparent supernatural realm. So I guess what I want to get into kind of what is your guys' experiences, what you've heard. Like, have you celebrated Halloween, or has it been like has your family been on the side, or people you've been around been on that side of it's of the devil? So, Brooke, what's been your experience with Halloween?
Yeah, we had Halloween back in Trinidad and Tobago. It was not to the extent that it is in the US, probably North America and Europe and stuff like that. I remember dressing up as Batman as like a 6-year-old kid. You know, I cut out my cardboard mask, and you know, I got my black pajamas and other things, and I, you know, some Wellington galoshes, and I went around the town begging for candy and stuff like that. Yeah, so we used to do that. As we got older, it started to get more mischievous. You know, we used to get these things called scratch bombs, which were like small cigarette-sized explosives. You can light the top and it'll pop and stuff. Throw that in a couple mailboxes. Then, yeah, you know, in my teens and stuff like that, we had that. But like I said, I wasn't raised in a particularly religious home. The first encounter that I had with the religiosity, it was probably in the church that I was involved with. The pastor there, he did like an entire sermon on why it's of the devil and it glorifies death and, you know, darkness and, you know, all the good stuff. And something along the lines of, I think, well, a lot of Wiccans believe that at midnight on Halloween, it is like the most powerful hour of dark magic or whatever the case might be. And, you know, he was reciting a lot of his conversations with Wiccans and pagans and other people and trying to basically say that what they're telling us is absolute gospel. And even back then I had a problem with it. Even back then it's kind of like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you're going to take the word of a witch. Like, obviously he didn't know anything about the satanic verses. I was a Satanist. I knew about like Anton LaVey and the crap that they used to say about, oh, well, a woman's body is the altar because it's the most compatible with the energy of the earth to perform spells. Like, if you're going to take that route and basically believe whatever the Satanists and the Wiccans say, shouldn't we get rid of women? Like, if they're the conduit of the earth energy and you're going to believe what they say, you know, so even back then I had issues with it, but yeah, so that's kind of my take.
Satanism is more red pill. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, guys. Yeah, that's. I know there's definitely like the whole thing with the woman's body with the Satanists and such. So
yeah, the altar is a naked woman. If ever you see a satanic ritual, it's a woman on the altar, and they perform the rituals on her body. So if you're going to take truth from the satanic church over what we know as gospel truth, that, you know, God is over everything, you're going to have a lot of problems.
Huh. I was going to say, watch, now we should do a special episode about our women, the altar. Get a woman on the stream. And does this look like an altar to you? So Corey, CONK. I keep
one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
Let's go with Billy this episode. I'll be Billy.
Billy, hey Billy.
Yeah.
So what's been your experience? Like, I mean, even as just like with your pastoral experience, have they like told you to like tackle the whole Halloween thing, or was it more the more reformed route of like, you know, embracing it, or is it like somewhere in the middle for you?
Yeah. So yeah, I've worked in a lot of different denominations, and they all take it pretty differently. When I was mostly in Baptist churches, they actually surprisingly didn't care that much. You know, no sermons about that it's evil, or anything like that. And all the kids went trick-or-treating, did Halloween. Nobody really talked about it. Maybe some like old fundamentalist ladies might have like snooed at you for participating, but they're old people. That's their job, to snoot at young people.
Old Karens.
Yeah. But I think the most interesting one was when I was in a Pentecostal Assemblies of God church, when I was working there, because they were anti-Halloween. It was evil. But they had the Harvest Fall Festival where everybody dressed up and had candy and had hay rides. But it's not Halloween. Yeah. Halloween's evil.
Yeah.
It's our October Fall Festival. Totally different, guys. Yeah. It's literally the same thing. And so I thought that was hilarious. And I did get into some debates with some other coworkers about it there. So they didn't like preach it on the pulpit, it's evil and you're going to hell if you practice Halloween, but they used to talk about that it's evil and Christians shouldn't be involved in pagan stuff and all of that crap. And I feel like that was dumb for two reasons. The first one was I mean, all of our holidays are kind of pagan at this point.
Pretty much.
They really
Right.
love Easter and Christmas. You know what I mean? That's all pagan stuff too, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
And when I think we've been over that before. But the second thing is they were shouting at each other at a freaking like restaurant over it.
Really?
And I was like, A, this is dumb. And then B, you're literally have two Christians yelling at each other over really dumb stuff in public. And I'm like, this doesn't look good. You guys look like idiots. You guys look like Pharisees, right? But bickering about the law and yelling at it about it in public. And I'm like, you guys are double dumb right now. But yeah, that's my main story interaction with it while I was actually working in churches. That one was stuck out to my eye because they were literally yelling at each other in a restaurant about how evil is Halloween. Yeah,
Right.
Good fun.
Well, my experiences kind of go back to, I remember.
You're breaking up.
To what is, well, still breaking up?
No, you're good back now. Yeah.
Hello? Okay. So yeah, going back to, what the heck? All right. Computer's being a little goofy right now. So yeah, word of faith, your what people call like name it, claim it, or whatever. And from what I remember was my parents would follow along kind of like different ways. I'd say like the first half of, I guess, like up until I was about 10, the conversation was mainly like, it's of the devil or whatever, kind of, at least kind of getting into that a little bit, paganism and all this. But as we kind of moved along, we actually started going to church on Halloween to something they called Hallelujah Harvest.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah, spicy. Yeah.
Yeah. And we go there, and they had a costume contest.
Oh, really?
Candy, and darker like not like dark as in like the theme, but more like the colors and such. I guess like there was no like
they dim the lights.
Yeah, they do. So then you'd go there, and people would like, the youth leaders and all the kids would like dress up, but then obviously there wouldn't be anything like. I think they had certain like guidelines, like nothing evil, nothing like dark or gory or whatever. So you get kids that dress up as superheroes, animals. I know there was a guy, one of the youth leaders, dressed up as a Roman centurion. Unfortunately, no Jesus. So, took
the plunge.
Get that.
Dang.
By the way, that is a little ironic that you're dressing up as a Roman centurion in church.
In church, I was about to say.
I can't wait to persecute you guys. It's a costume. It's for fun.
So, that's kind of where that went. And I remember, I'd go to that every year, candy and such. I think there was one year I went and they'd have like music and stuff, but I mean, just Christians kind of trying to create their own little subculture. So, like I said, Hallelujah Harvest, and they're doing all the same things you would do for Halloween, except they don't call it Halloween, and it's just this sort of Christian theme. Like, but yeah, I think I remember my parents maybe had a book at one point that said something about how like Halloween was of the devil. There was talk a few times I heard about how like the spiritual energy or something, maybe, but I don't even know. Like I don't remember too much of like. I think every year we put out a sign at our door, basically saying we don't celebrate Halloween or something.
Right. It's kind of like we are Christians. Don't buzz us for candy, kind of thing.
And then you put some
Yeah.
lamb blood on your doorpost.
On
So
the
the
lentils
yeah,
of
yeah.
the
Over you.
post.
And this is back when even when I delivered pizzas, I would work on Halloween, and it was good.
Ooh, that might have been fun.
Yeah. So I remember I delivered pizzas, and there were a couple times. One time I go up to the door, and the guy's wearing like this scary mask, and I'm just not expecting it at all. So I ring the doorbell, and I'm delivering a pizza. He opens the door, hello, and I'm like, I didn't jump, but I could feel my heart just kind of whoa. And then he kind of looks at me and he goes, "Oh, hey, oh yeah, yeah, you're here with pizza. Here's your payment." And I said, how, yeah, I'm dressed up as the, I would say I'm for Halloween. I'm dressed up as a pizza delivery guy.
Even though that's your job.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, you want some candy then? I'm like, no, I'm good. So yeah, and even so, yeah, outside of the whole Christian thing, like I didn't really take a day just for Halloween.
Would you say that's still true? Like you haven't like celebrated Halloween at all?
I'll definitely like partake in I'll say Happy Halloween, and if I get candy, I'll take candy. But in terms of the whole dressing up, going out and doing this whole thing, I never did trick or treating.
Really?
Yeah,
we gotta take him trick or treating, Conk. We gotta just gotta have his experience, man.
Yeah.
Ricky, 28
Maybe
years
we'll
old.
Spike too.
Trick or treaters.
Invite Spike.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I didn't have any of that, and even I mean now that I'm older, it's like it's just another day in the calendar for me to really. So, so is it of the devil? I think, I mean, I want to kind of give my view on this, but the whole thing with it, is it of the devil and, its roots? I know people have touched on like,
dude, we got the 10K Rum logo in my space. You wanna?
Whoops. Don't mind that, guys. Now you tell me.
Yeah, I just noticed it.
So because of that, join us in about a little over an hour. But with Halloween, even see, I missed my train of thought. Look, see what you did, Brooke.
Sorry. You want to come back to it?
Thoughts aren't meant to be on trains in the first place. Those are for people. Just saying, man.
Tickets, please.
Yeah.
Watch out for hanging chads. Yeah.
Halloween, I guess. The origins, I should say. I've heard about like what was it, All Hallows Eve? Is that supposed to maybe be Halloween? Yeah. All Saints Day. So I'm not too well like versed. I know my grandparents who were staunch Catholics would talk about that a couple of times, but I never learned too much about it. Was there a connection to that, or was that just kind of a just so happened to be the same day or close to each other?
Well, I think one is the 30th and one is the 31st, right? From what I remember, but I could be wrong.
I think it is the same day. Maybe different, like different countries might have it on different days, though. And the tradition that I think Amos talked about it when he was in one of the previous episodes, where the people go and clear off the graves in Taiwan and the Buddhists and stuff. All Saints Day in Trinidad and Tobago was like that. The Catholics would go to the cemetery and they would clear, just clean up the grave sites and stuff like that. I think it is on the same day. Am I wrong in saying that was also the day Martin Luther banged the theses? Because some people say it's Martin Luther Day as well. Is that? I might be getting this confused.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think there's some other connection to this whole thing. But yeah, where that practice came from, nobody's exactly sure. Even the pagans didn't really do anything specific and probably till about 300-400 years ago. So it's not like an ancient tradition. You know, we really don't know where this came from. And more than likely was piggybacking on the back of the All Saints Day from the Catholic Church. So we don't know. We don't know. There's a lot of mystery as to where this whole thing came from. Far less how it became kids begging for candy. Nobody knows about that.
Right. Yeah. Cause so I'm not sure, really sure where to, I know this is kind of, since Heather, once again, thanks to Heather for suggesting the topic, but beyond just like our personal experiences and discussing the culture around it, I'm not quite sure, like, where do you guys think we should take it with talking about like, is it of the devil? Like, because there's definitely some pagan influence, obviously, with how it's come about. I think it's similar to like how it's a holiday that's kind of an amalgamation of other cultures, kind of like with Christmas.
Yeah, I think all holidays kind of are at this point.
Pretty much.
Well, the thing is I think like there's holidays that are more, I don't know if you want to call them more pure. Like Thanksgiving has a clear cut kind of background to it. President's Day or Columbus Day, some of these, regardless, separate from the controversy and such, it still kind of follows like one person or one theme or one set of accomplishments to kind of become a holiday. Christmas, Halloween, what else? Probably a couple of, there's one or two
Easter.
others.
That evil pagan holiday, 4th of July. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you want to get in, if you want to get into pagan, our very days of the week are named after the Norse gods, right? So, and the Greek gods, right? So,
and the Roman gods, which are just the Greek gods.
Jupiter, Mars, well, same thing, right? And I mean, I take the stand of Martin Luther on this, who was quoted as saying, look, you can't, the item that is abused cannot be undone by destroying that object. And he said, look, the sun, moon, and stars have been worshipped by the pagans and the ancestors for thousands of years. What are you going to do? Pluck them out of the sky? Water and food and all sorts of things have been used in Wiccan and pagan rituals. What are we going to do? Give up food? And I already gave the example of women being the altar in the satanic church. What are we going to do? Give up women? So it's
no.
Yeah, exactly. I don't believe anything that exists on the earth is probably inherently evil. I've already kind of expressed, I don't believe in a tangible devil. I do believe in the will of men, and by our faith, we can create things that are evil. I think it comes from us, though. So if the pagans believe that the 12 o'clock midnight Wiccan on Halloween is the most powerful hour of dark magic, it's true for them. But it's true because they believe it. Their faith is what kind of empowers it. Not that the hour of time has any intrinsic power unto itself. So that's kind of always been my take on these things. And I say, if we're going to start condemning people for begging for candy and dressing up in costumes, then we have to take our fight to places like Bollywood and Hollywood and, all of these places where people dress up all the time.
They get paid millions of dollars to dress up in a costume.
Yeah.
And there's probably candy somewhere in there.
Exactly.
Maybe from the interns. Yeah.
What are we going to do? Like go after Disney characters at Disney World and Disneyland? And I mean, they're doing the exact same thing. No. Yeah, because you paid to go there, right?
Yeah.
So
they're also all commies, right?
Yeah, right. Disney's in a lot of trouble. So there's nothing intrinsic in the holiday itself that I see as particularly evil, especially when it's a bunch of kids running around, in a bunch of sheets and they're dressed as Hulk and whatever. Nobody cares. I mean, for us adults, I've had, since I've been in the UK, they're very big on fancy dress. So they don't call it costumes, they call it fancy dress. And they like to dress up out here. So I've done 2 Halloween stints. One is the Dark Mad Hatter out of Alice in Wonderland. And second is, just a pirate because it was the easiest thing. I was really hoping to go for the Ragnar Lothbrok this year, because I got the bald head, I got the season 3 beard going, but we're probably not going to have a Halloween this year because fucking COVID has just destroyed everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm not liking is I think one of the things that I saw was people were like, no, COVID's going to cause Halloween to be canceled. So no,
Well, I mean, for us like as adults, if we were to go somewhere, we'd probably go to a pub, or we don't really have much of a club out here. That's definitely going to be out of the question. So yeah.
Yeah, just think about all the God-fearing women, respecting God, dressing up for Halloween. No. But
sexy nuns.
Hey. God-fearing, respectful. No, just kidding. So yeah, it's to I kind of since I don't did I make this comment? Oh yeah. I think I made it either just before the show started or right as we started. I talked about is the devil in retrograde? It's kind of in reference to people who follow like some of the astrology stuff. Like they'll kind of like, oh, because I'm such a Gemini that I did this crazy thing, or because Mercury is in retrograde, this is totally going to happen. It's kind of in a similar way, like pagan holidays and Christians are kind of like white girls in astrology. It's just this like because there's this connection, they'll kind of like I see that look, Brooke.
I'm not sure if the Christians would be because some of them are kind of running from Halloween, so I'm not sure it fully fits in that respect.
It's like they kind of
I get the point. I get
sort
the point.
of like the idea of like alignments of spiritual energy or something to kind of like as a justification for believing like this is a more evil day than other days. As CONK said, putting the lamb's blood over the door, stuff like this. It's like that's it's like certain holidays or certain days of the week or days of the year, Christians kind of think like there's something to it, like, and it's even akin to people, Brooke and I have listened to who considered like yoga to be of the devil, because certain poses or things you do in yoga invites demonic influence and such.
Yeah. I also always thought that. I was gonna say I also always thought that yogurt was of the devil because it invites biotics into your body that you weren't before.
Yeah, you might need to explain to. I know what yogurt is, but you might have to say what that is. Not yogurt, but yogurt. Is there a difference?
No, it was a food joke. But yeah.
The food, right? Because I think there's a yogurt as well, which is like yogurt for kids or something. It's like I think it's an American thing. Yeah.
Well,
no, that's
so
yogurt.
you have your like you have your like Americanized yogurt, like it's sweet, it's got little pieces of fruit in it or whatever. Kids will eat that. But then you've got like proper like yogurt that's just
disgusting.
It can be used as an ingredient for like your baking
not tasty
or something. Yeah. So
but I mean, Corey, on that note, did you think that Halloween is of the devil? Because we really didn't get your take on that.
I mean, even if it is, doesn't matter. Right? I don't know. To me, like one of the things I wrote down that I wanted to bring up is when Paul talks about food sacrificed to idols.
Yes.
Right? Some people were skittish about it and some people weren't. And it's like, don't cause your brother to stumble. But he's like, at the end of the day, you can eat the food.
Pretty much.
It's fine. You know what I mean? So like, even if this was like an actual official pagan religion and everybody's doing witch stuff, does it really affect us as Christians that much? Not really. Right. I see it as the food sacrifice to idols thing.
Yeah. I would second that. And I think far too much of the Christian world, they don't admit it in reality, although they do it in practice. Satan is their God. Like Satan is so big, so scary, and so powerful. God is impotent, can't do anything. So anything that's like remotely associated with darkness, it's like, oh my God, we got to run from that. Instead of, taking dominion and like having authority and just being bold in your faith. It just seems like Satan is everywhere. He's managed to claim an entire day for himself. None of that's scriptural. Like every day is the Lord's day. Like, come on, man. So yeah, I definitely think that perspective of an impotent god and this super devil is ridiculous.
The Super Devil. There was some show where that was a character, and I can't remember what it was.
That's what I was.
The Super Devil. What was it? I can't remember. I think it might have been American Dad. I'm not sure.
Oh, I didn't see that. I don't have that.
But he was like the devil, but he was the super cool one where he had like an Evil Knievel motorcycle and all this stuff. He was the Super Devil.
I mean, so would you extend that to the holiday of Easter then? So Easter is another one that people tend to. So I mean, we could probably
totally of the devil.
Yeah, we could kind of touch on the pagan roots of some of the holidays. So, yeah. Corey, what do you think of Easter then?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I always found Easter confusing because, like, it's even the Christian side, we're supposed to be celebrating the resurrection, but I mean, like, theologically, isn't it more important to like celebrate the death? The resurrection was kind of like, you know, the side piece to it, right? It wasn't the saving work. It was just the cool thing that happened, right?
Well, it was the big miracle. Yeah. It was the vindication, sure.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, the death part, we should probably be doing Easter as Friday, celebrating that, boom, sins are paid for. Right? I feel like that's a lot bigger deal than the actual resurrection part, but that's kind of just my personal hissy fit.
I mean, it is only the thing that separates Christ from every other religious figure. Yeah, but it's not important.
I just think it's less important, okay? I mean, Lazarus rose from the dead. Where's Lazarus Easter? Come on, guys.
Could you imagine that Lazarus Easter? Yeah, it's definitely interesting how we've both the holidays that Christians, you would have a lot of Christians that are against, and a lot of holidays that Christians are for. Kind of those two sides of that spectrum. Both have these sort of pagan influences.
All of them. So I mean, the two big ones, Christmas and Easter, definitely.
Right. But I'm saying, like, so Christmas is like one of the more important Christian, probably if not the most important one. Christmas and Easter kind of.
They got the date wrong.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's the most important one, but they got the date wrong.
Well, yeah. But yeah, Christmas and Easter, kind of like the two big ones, the birth of Jesus and the resurrection of Jesus. Those two, you know, kind of like one of the most important ones. All these pagan influences involved, you know, freaking Easter eggs, bunnies, Christmas trees, presents, Santa Claus, all this stuff. Not like Santa Claus is necessarily pagan, but it's like it's all kind of wrapped into that.
It's all about who you ask.
And then like one of the more controversial ones among Christians, at least, Halloween. You know, you kind of have this diverging opinion. Like either people kind of embrace it by trying to Christianize it, or or they just completely reject it as, you know, demonic. So two spectrums, both pagan.
They have pagan roots.
I mean, do we have a holiday for the unnamed God?
Do we have a holiday for the unnamed God? No.
Remember the one that
like
Paul,
Acts?
Yeah, the one that Paul was it Paul at that point, or
it's
out?
Paul.
Like the unnamed God. You know, it's like I'm just kidding. I was
technically the unnamed God is Jehovah, right? So God.
Right.
That was his argument.
You know, he kind of took that, but you know, it's like why didn't we get a holiday out of that God? You know, just kidding. Yeah, it's funny how, whereas like Thanksgiving, no one really questions Thanksgiving. At least I don't think. I mean, have you guys heard any Thanksgiving Christian hate against Thanksgiving?
We don't have
usually from the woke side, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so
we genocided all of them. So why are we celebrating the one time we were nice? But it wasn't really for like pagan or religious reasons. It's more of the SJW side wants to cancel Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, we don't have. I think the Canadians have a Thanksgiving. The English don't. Trinidad and the Caribbean doesn't have a Thanksgiving. So that's a uniquely North American holiday.
Freaking heathens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
savages.
I think Canadian Thanksgiving already happened this year because
yes, it
Yeah.
has.
our resident Canadian Ryan Stone dipped out on us when we were playing Among Us because he realized it was Canadian Thanksgiving.
Right,
Yeah.
That
right.
jerk.
Um,
How dare he?
Yeah.
so what are I guess is Halloween of the devil?
Round
No.
3.
I think we kind of covered this. Amos, do you need to get some coffee, bro? You look like you're
I
fading,
probably
man.
do. I probably
maybe. So, I mean, let's look at some of the practices of some of these religions. These holidays. Looking at Christmas, of course, the big one is, of course, the Christmas tree, right? It's this pine tree, and it's covered in tinsel and popcorn and all of these different types of things.
Popcorn.
And don't y'all do popcorn? That was a very big thing.
I mean, we'll eat popcorn. I don't think we put it on the tree.
That used to be a thing, like how you have like the wrap. It used to be popcorn,
Tinsel.
right? Now it's tinsel, but I think originally it was popcorn.
But I think that's probably like. I think I've seen that. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Anyway, we all know what a Christmas tree looks like, and of course, the Western world has kind of co-opted the Christmas tree as part of, their part of the practice, right? Part of the tradition. Some people, I think they pull a quote out of the book of Jeremiah, which basically describes, do not bring this tree that the pagans have and this, that, and the other, to try and justify a means by which we should not participate with a tree. So what are your thoughts? I think it's in the book of Jeremiah. I don't know. Maybe Corey's looking it up right now, hopefully. So what are your thoughts on some of the somewhat pagan aspects to these holidays that we've introduced, like the Christmas tree?
The pumpkin?
I don't know if the pumpkin is pagan.
The idea of carving the pumpkin?
Don't know.
I remember one of the first times I had like someone tried to kind of like co-opt the whole like pumpkin thing as like a Christian message. We had someone that came over and showed us about carving a pumpkin, and he kind of gave this whole like, and then Jesus came into our life and put a light inside, as he's carving the pumpkin with the candle, and Jesus put a light in our life. And I'm like, okay, sure. You can have fun with that. I was really little, and I thought, oh, that's so cool. That was about it with that. Like,
yeah, the verse in question about the Christmas trees, I think, is Jeremiah 10, 1-5. And it's like the people of Israel do not follow the pagan religious practices, do not be in awe of the signs that occur in the sky, for their religions are worthless, and they cut down a tree in the forest and they bring it into the house and they make idols with their hands and so forth and so forth. So, again, that is a verse that a lot of even the Jehovah's Witnesses and some other Christian denominations refuse to acknowledge the Christmas tree. I don't know about the pumpkin. I don't know if a pumpkin isn't really pagan. It's kind of like food.
Well, the jack-o'-lantern thing definitely has some Christians pretty worried. They kind of, especially like when you get some really creative ones where people will carve, witches and stuff like that. Christians will get all up in arms, kind of, oh, pagan demons, as opposed to regular demons.
I mean, I think one part of it though was that you're supposed to dress up like ghosts and monsters to scare away ghosts and monsters, right? And I think jack-o'-lanterns were part of that originally, from what I remember, is they were part of making sure all the ghosts don't get in your house, and you scare them away with jack-o'-lanterns.
I mean, obviously, then according to that idea, then the only logical like person you can dress up as for Halloween is Doom Guy from Doom Eternal, killing all the demons.
Oh yeah, Doom Guy.
Yeah. The Doom Slayer technically is his name. If anyone kind of remembers the Doom game series, like that character, like that's how you got to dress up as, because that's.
Or a
what is
Van
it,
Helsing if you're really
Yeah.
into it.
Some people have said Doom is probably the most Christian gaming franchise of all time.
yeah, I've
Because
heard
it's
that.
about
Killing all
cutting
the
demons
demons.
in half with a chainsaw. Yeah.
Yeah.
Killing the devil and stuff.
Oh yeah, good fun.
But
So,
to be fair, I actually think that mocking evil is probably the best antidote to evil. So I think a lot of these people be like, oh, ghosts and goblins and witches and all this other kind of stuff. I think actually dressing up, having fun, making a laugh of it, and kind of not taking it that seriously is probably much healthier for people than the fundamentalists who are trying to make this into like a massive mountain.
Dressing up as demons is healthy.
Yeah, it is.
You're going to hell, Brooke.
Yeah, would be the first time.
Wouldn't be the first time that you went to hell. What? No.
Don't you know hell is right here on the earth, man?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that kind of gets me is just how they give so much power. I mean, not just to a day, but also to like things you do. Wearing an outfit, joking about things, saying words. Like if I said Happy Halloween, I think the whole, people freaking out about Happy Halloween is kind of in the same vein as like, I mean, not for the similar reasons, but it's almost in the same vein as like,
Happy holidays.
Holiday. Yeah, and Merry Christmas. Like Christians get all
Really?
offended, and yeah. So here in the U.S., like the PC culture is kind of a clash between like Christians that are like, Merry Christmas. I say that because that's what like, and then you get these like crusading like videos of people that say, oh, because 80 or 90% of the Americans celebrate Christmas in some fashion. Why is it such a PC thing? Why is Happy Holidays such a thing? And I'm like, just say whatever the hell you want. Like,
exactly.
Holy crap. It's like we put so much power to these things. Granted, I as someone who's for free speech, but we give so much power to like not just as like Americans, but also as Christians to kind of like freak out over, words and actions to a degree where it's like it's mostly harmless. Doing yoga invites demons. It's like, no, I'm stretching and breathing. Like, saying Happy Halloween invites the devil into your heart. No, I'm just having fun. Wearing outfits, candy. I mean, I guess, I mean, could you start hallucinating with enough sugar in your body?
Hallucinating with enough sugar in your body.
Maybe you start seeing spots from like high blood sugar.
High blood sugar.
Diabetic.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like, I mean,
you can go blind from it.
You're with all the candy you're going to be eating on Halloween. I don't think you're going to start hallucinating and start, having visions of the devil. Anyone who had any like real visions of any like supernatural stuff, where the closest to that relating to Halloween would probably be like with the Salem witch trials, where they possibly were exposed to some fungus and started hallucinating. But
okay, I don't know anything about if they were tripping on mushrooms with the Salem witch trials.
With the Salem witch trials, when they were accusing these women of being witches, there was a theory that these women, probably having lived, out of the village or wherever they lived, probably they had exposure to a certain type of mushroom or fungus that made them trip out and act weird, and then people presume them to be witches because of these behaviors. Salem witch trials and stuff, those type of themes tend to connect with Halloween. People kind of like, dressing up as witches and all that. When in reality, it was just probably a couple of women that got a little experimental with mushrooms.
I mean, we don't know. We can't say that.
It's a theory, but I mean,
that's all very hypothetical. Yeah,
but it's people are trying to draw these sort of grand assumptions about this holiday where it's like of the devil, and it's like for the most part, it's just people dressing up, mocking these things, having fun. Like you're saying, mocking evil. Like there's no one's really taking seriously like evil. Like it's all just for fun. You go on a hayride, you go to a haunted house. yeah, you get scared. There's all this stuff. Like I personally, I don't like that feeling, but people having fun doing that, I think that's great. Like there's no one's taking seriously. Like there's not a guy. Well, as far as we know, at least there's not a guy with a hockey mask and a chainsaw running around killing people at summer camps.
Right.
Right.
And only the virgin lives. Yeah, maybe not at your Halloween gatherings.
I'm talking about Jason.
Do you even celebrate? You haven't even killed anyone today.
But you get what I'm saying is like all these things that we do that are traditionally like
Halloween-esque.
Yeah, all these things like people. There's just so much people try to weave into like the meaning of the demons, the devils, and this is like even if we're doing all this, like so even if there was really like a day like demons got to roam free and such, like what are they really gonna do?
Right, I would agree with that.
Like probably gonna tell us to eat too much and look at porn. Right.
Exactly. Maybe they'll trip on mushrooms like you were talking about.
yeah. But like what I mean, for the most part, it's just like Christians kind of for lack of a better word. Oh, there maybe is a better word.
I mean, okay, so we got a very interesting conversation going on in the chat here about some of the things that are supposed to take place. So when we're talking about Halloween, we're just talking about the everyday generic, kids dressing up, people dressing up, banging on doors, cutting up pumpkins, begging for candy, that kind of stuff. Some people are pointing out that, there are supposedly very demonic things that happen in the night of Halloween. There's supposed to be child sacrifice. There's, people hunting. I've heard these stories as well. Some of the very elite have some very disturbing things going on. All of that is actually a very new kind of hypothesis.
Yeah,
these are not. Yeah,
my understanding is, I guess, those types of things, whether you believe they happen or not, because I don't want to try to take too strong of a stance on that. But even if they were to happen, they're not happening just on Halloween. They're happening on other days.
Which was the point I was going to make. That is evil, but that's not because of Halloween, right? That's because evil people, take an opportunity to do evil things. I think somebody was pointing out, T was pointing out the 13 and the 31. Yeah, I was a Satanist for a while, and there's a lot more numerology to it.
Wow.
But again, it's not that those days have any particular significance. It's because of their belief in it. It's just become like adopted as these things. The 13 and the 31 thing can be traced back to, I think, 1700s. It's kind of the first time you start seeing these things.
Right.
With the numerology and stuff like that. These aren't really ancient traditions. But I wouldn't attribute anything to that, a specific day or a time or an hour. People can just do really terrible things at any time.
Typically when I'm hearing about these, like by the time Christians are talking about how like there's some sort of pagan or demonic or evil influence on a holiday or a day of the year or just anything, and then they start providing some, possible like conspiracy theories or even maybe some evidence of like, people doing shady things, who worship demonic things or whatever. Typically when you actually look into it, you'll find out that like it's the evil that co-ops the good, not so much the good that co-ops the evil. So like, the whole thing with, so Halloween has had this whole tradition and the demonic stuff that people, or the satanic, rituals and all this tend to come late. You said recent. It's like it came later. It's like they kind of picked up on it. Oh, here's a good day that everyone kind of does these things. Let's do it on this day. It's not like they did it, then created a holiday, and then there was this.
Right.
Like, people will try to go and talk about and even with Christmas, people want, like, yes, it's not the right day. Yes, there's all these traditions that weren't like mentioned in the Bible. But even like where Christmas, I think, was connected to, what was it? Saturnalius?
Or winter solstice or whatever.
Yeah, it's connected to
where the
that
sun's at the lowest point. Yeah.
And even that from the traditions, if you looked at what they did during the more mainstream traditions of that holiday, it's not like there wasn't anything overtly like one direction or the other in terms of good or bad. It was just a celebration they had. So when Christians try to like kind of find all the evil, it's like the evil came later. Someone was kind of like, hey, here's a cool holiday to ruin for everyone by doing crazy stuff and bad stuff to, whether it's to sacrifice to animals, to children, or to, virgin women or whatever. It's like they come later. It's, they want to try to be part of the cool crowd by hijacking a holiday, I guess. If that's not that it's necessarily cool, but you know what I'm saying. You're not typically, the evil kind of comes later. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
you're so the inherently evil side. Most of these holidays, from what I've seen, is I think even like one night at a church during Hallelujah Harvest, the pastor talked about like, oh, we're gonna go out and we're gonna have this little get together, and just want you guys to know, like, we're gonna have this bonfire, but people who worship Satan used to call it the bone fire. That's where the word came from, because they would sacrifice and burn bones. And I'm sitting there like, what? Like, we can't have bonfires now because it came from that same, like, because it came from the word bonfire. So like just the gathering and burning of logs, what
is off limits?
It's technically tree bones, right?
Yeah.
Burning tree bones.
Yeah. So
I mean, there isn't a practice alive that has not had some kind of pagan origin. And I mean, this is the genetic fallacy, which a lot of Christians tend to fall for. Say, for instance, people pierce their ears. Right, back about 200, 300 years ago, having pierced ears as a man usually meant that you were indentured, you were a slave, or you were a pirate, as the case might be, and it kind of signified your crew.
No, it could mean you're gay.
So, which is exactly the point I'm saying, that is how the practice was probably originated. I mean, you could go all the way back to Egypt and it has a completely different meaning. That has nothing to do on what it means to a person who pierces their ear today. Right? A person might just want to look cool, right? They're not thinking any kind of thing beyond that. And this is what's called the genetic fallacy. A lot of people point to these practices that were done many years ago, sometimes centuries ago, and be like, well, we do this now, but we're really connected to that ethereal something that happened 600 years ago. And there's no logical reason for that to follow.
Now, in your guys' experience, what is the most common thing people would put on top of a Christmas tree? Since we're kind of touch on that, like
probably the firstborn child, right? Or am I mix mashing these? No.
But you guys want to know, like, there's the whole thing with, I think people typically put angels.
Yeah, angels, stars. I mean, whatever fits really. Santa Claus, dancing bear.
Because I'm just thinking of that, and I'm like, putting an angel on top like that, someone could, like, some Christian who wants to get smart could be like, you're worshiping Mormonism, because Mormons put angels at the top of their churches. They don't put crosses. No, I don't know. Yeah. But this is the kind of the folly of the whole practice of you kind of pick apart one thing that was just, it wasn't meant to be interpreted one way or the other, or maybe it was, but nowadays it's just more harmless because, like, jack-o'-lanterns, maybe there was some connection to to some pagan origin, but then it's just a pumpkin.
I mean, Heather raises an interesting question. She was told that her obelisk was pagan. And we know what the obelisk is. You'll have the Washington Monument, for instance. That's something that goes all the way back to Egypt. These pillars, the menorahs kind of thing. It's a piece of architecture, right? It doesn't necessarily have any significance.
Yeah. I think the significance is whatever you want to give it. If you want to give it a pagan significance, cool. But you could say, this is my anointed Josh obelisk.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, anointed Josh is the correct term for Jesus Christ. Just when the
In fact, I think there is there is an obelisk. I think it's in Turkey. I might have this wrong. They just stuck a cross on it, right? You know, when the Catholics came in and you know the church moved in, and they had all of these pagan kind of statues and stuff. They just stuck a cross on it and then became part of the church for like 300 years. Nothing has any inherent evil or unevil. It is the subjectivity of man that will give something power or not.
Red Crusader saying it's what you make it.
Exactly.
What a concept.
The power lies with us. Yes, I agree.
We're the power. Oh my gosh. No, it's
yeah.
When our powers combine.
Yeah. I mean,
we're the ambiguously Christian trio.
Ambiguously Christian actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. You were saying, Corey, you were about to say.
Yeah, I was going to bring back the whole food sacrificed to idols. That was food that was literally sacrificed to false gods, right?
Yes.
And Paul's like, whatever, just eat it. I don't care.
Yeah, receive it with thanksgiving. It's fine.
Yeah,
because there is only one God.
Yeah, when I was growing up in Taiwan, there would be food, like good food, offered to like the Buddha, the Buddhist temple, like all this stuff. And I think like people would eat it later, and my mom would tell me, no, we can't eat. Or one time I think we ate some food and we found out it was offered to Buddha, and my mom like had a little mini freak out and was like, we got to pray about this. I'm like, good food.
It looks delicious.
She's like, no, we gotta like extra bless it or something, double bless it, or something.
Make sure you Papa bless it too. You gotta get Papa John's approval.
But this is kind of the thing, is like someone waving their hands or bowing down to a essentially just a material idol that has probably no real spiritual significance. Like here's the thing: if Christians are believing, their God is such a big God and the most powerful being, like, and these other gods kind of like they don't really believe in them, so they, by their own logic, like it wouldn't really matter. Like it's all out. Like not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, depending upon the preparation, I might have some objection. But if you take an animal and you do like a full sacrifice and the whole thing, but then it's still fresh enough to like cook up and eat, I don't care. I'll eat it. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and it was offered up and all this, unless there was some real like sanitation issue there. But otherwise, like I'm just I'll eat it. Like, if I were to visit some culture who wanted to sacrifice an animal to their whatever religious belief they had, but then they prepared it properly and they followed the food safety and all that, it's like, sure, I'll partake of the food. Like, I'm not going to sit there and wonder if my soul is protected for eternity because of that. I think I've probably got a lot more going for me that is just going to be fine versus this animal that was just killed and sacrificed and honored to something else.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Corey's analogy is right as well, in the sense, look, we have dominion. None of this stuff really matters. If you're of weak conscience, and Paul kind of warns that, like, if you're not of the faith, don't partake.
Baby Christians.
If you're an immature Christian, you're still learning that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But for those of us who are mature, those of us who, understand this, look, there's only one God. Give thanks and do it. And that should be the same approach that we have for these holidays. There's nothing intrinsically evil about any of these practices. Even if you put them together and you add some extra stuff, it's not evil. And for the most part, I think it's probably healthy, to have these expressions. It gives us meaning. It gives us a way to break up the the modernity of life, and putting all these arbitrary celebrations and holidays and fun reasons to get together or whatever. That's part of the human experience, man. I don't see any issue with any of that. I would say we need more of it, if anything. More holidays is probably better.
When you were talking about the weak faith, like people that don't want to partake, and I think, and he doesn't really describe like why. He just kind of says, "Hey, if you don't feel up to it, don't do it."
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking is like it's the conscience. It has nothing to do with like the power of the the demon in the food. Like you're
if it's going to shake your faith in some kind of way, and sure,
that's really what it comes down to. It's like there's no demon chicken, but I mean if you don't know,
have you had KFC recently? I don't know, man.
But if you partake of
that's pretty evil stuff.
We all know Popeyes is the one true chicken. All other chickens are false gods.
Yeah, if you partake of this chicken and you didn't know it was offered to anything, you just ate it, like nothing's gonna happen. But if someone told you,
the Christian franchise that does chicken. Chick-fil-A. No, right.
Chick-fil-A is a false prophet, but
I was about to say
Popeyes is the one true chicken.
False prophet, because they close on Sunday. Like you see, it's all there. But I want to open this up actually.
Yeah. They don't want you.
The chickens go to church before they kill them. So
mandatory fasting.
Yeah. So for the viewers, I'm going to open this up to everyone to come on and either if they want to like comment, question, giving their testimony. No, I'm just kidding about Halloween, or even maybe any other like pagan ideas they've kind of learned from other holidays. So anything anyone wants to contribute, you guys can join us.
So Conk, do you celebrate Christmas? Have you celebrated Christmas?
Me or my family?
Both.
Me, no, I don't celebrate anything because I don't care. Fair enough. And it's not even for the pagan or whatever aspect. It's because, like, it's all kind of consumerism, right? The reason big businesses and corporations care about holidays is because you'll spend more money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could celebrate it apart from that. It's kind of, I think the reverse kind of is true for us. Then it's like, so. We can definitely move past the whole demons and the devil, like with all the holidays and the pagan influence. The same way with how the consumerism and the corporations have sort of hijacked and messed with this. Like I think we could then move past that too. Maybe just don't buy don't decorate as much. Like
just meet your family, have lunch, and go home. You don't have to.
Maybe you don't have to
like get into the gifts
if you really want to. But yeah, you just kind of like have a we'll just say a more traditional minimalist kind of
Christmas minimalism
over here.
I was gonna say Larry just put out a little minimalist thing, but it kind of makes sense though. It's like if you don't want to contribute to the consumerism, then don't. You can still celebrate. So we've got Heather, who is not a bot, and who's waiting.
We'll see.
Yeah. Oh no.
Fantastic.
She's gone to the dark side.
Fantastic.
Hey, Heather.
Hi there.
That's cool.
I wanted to show everyone
Are we doing Carl in San Diego?
My mother's ceramics from when I was a kid. And I apologize, but I've been in and out of the garage because we had a yard sale yesterday. So I'm like cold and just back and forth.
Okay.
But I appreciate you guys doing this topic because it's just been nuts with my growing up. We used to have decorations up, people would come, and my mom would count spookers. That's what she called them. We're Pennsylvania.
It sounds like a
Dutch,
racial slur, but it's not. But it sounds like one.
Exactly. So I remember all the decorations like being put away and not coming out anymore. And it was like, because Halloween is of the devil. And so I remember when I became an adult and I moved out and everything, after a time, I inherited these cool things that my mom made when I was a kid. So that's pretty awesome. But it's funny because I was talking to my mom yesterday, and invited her and my dad to come over for Halloween because I'm going to make like a dinner and everything because it's a big deal in this neighborhood. We have like close to 400 pieces of candy, like little baggies of candy ready to go.
Awesome.
Because of how nuts it is here. And I haven't experienced that for such a long time. But my mom and dad are planning to come over for dinner. And they and my husband will stand back at the porch. You know, they're all older, so they're not going to get close. And I'll, you know, if I do get close, I'll wear a mask and stuff, but we'll have a table set up and everything. But like, my mom said something about getting my nephew a costume.
Cool.
And I'm like, when did this happen? When did this change around occur?
Where was this
And
when I was young?
It's like they forget.
It's
you
true.
know, they forget whatever it was that inspired them to do whatever. So I appreciate you doing this show, and you know, I always look forward to it. Thank you.
Awesome.
You're welcome. I mean, Heather, just quickly on that note, we do grow. There was a time when I was like a ridiculous fundamentalist, and I believed all of that nonsense as well. So hopefully that's the story with your parents. They've grown past that. That those things don't matter anymore. Family is what matters. So hopefully
and
that's
it's like,
the story.
it's not just because they're getting old and crazy. And
let's hope so.
you know, I'm getting old and crazy too.
Aren't we all?
You know?
Yeah,
We
you
all
might need to
are.
check if they need a firmware upgrade or something like that.
Oh my God.
Some new drivers to install. Yeah.
Yeah. God, CONK, you're gonna let it go soon. I mean, hopefully all my my homemade skincare stuff will keep it that you continue to think I'm a bot. But
There you go.
anyway, have a great weekend, guys.
Yep.
Take care.
Take care, Heather. Thank you so
seeing
much.
Now we've got Red. How's it going, Red Crusader?
What's going on, man?
It's going good. Yeah. So I guess on all this, from a Catholic perspective, it's All Saints Day. So
All Saints Day, yes.
Yeah. If you want the official, like, this is what you got to do for your thing for the church, go to All Saints Day and go and pray for all your saints. Right.
Yes.
Which,
and clean the graves.
Right. Pretty much. So that they, and, you know, Catholics in general, they're just like, oh, you know, this is kind of pagan. Slap a seal of approval on it. Right. You know, it's just like, oh, you know, you know, this weird thing, you weird Gaelic people are like sacrificing horses and all this stuff. Let's not do that. But, you know, the tree thing, maybe, you know, we'll let it slide. Just as long as you don't overtly say, oh, you know, we're saving the spirits of the forest or whatever, you know, maybe it has something to do with, you know, God, and you're saving his spirit. Right. Yeah.
Wow.
But
fantastic.
But yeah, I don't know if you guys
need saving.
Yeah.
Yep. I was just looking it up a second ago, but I think they actually switched All Saints Day to November 1st a long time ago, just because of Halloween.
Right. Yeah. But you know, it was during that time. So
yeah.
Correct. I mean, it's interesting because we were just talking about that. We could probably touch on that in a little more detail. The whole idea of like sticking a cross on it. And we were sharing about how Heather was talking about her obelisk. And I said, I think there's an obelisk in Turkey. The church just stuck a cross on the top of it, kind of like sanctioned. Now it's holy. So maybe there's something to that. As CONK was saying, at some point, you know, the church is trying to influence everything else that's out there in the world. And that might very much involve kind of co-opting some of these other practices and putting a Christian spin on it, which the Catholic Church definitely pioneered.
I just thought of something really bad, but funny at the same time. You know, the whole stigma with Subway and how they'll take some like derelict building and they'll slap a Subway in it, right?
Right.
You know, same thing, right? Oh, you know, here's this derelict religion that we don't want to like see anymore. Catholicism.
Yeah, just stick a cross on it, man.
I mean, they took a pedophile, slapped a sandwich in his face, and said he's good.
Yeah, there you go. There's the next step.
It reminds me of also what do you call it? Because it's more on theme. There was a really great meme going around about how Spirit Halloween comes into all of the abandoned malls and stores as well. The Spirit Halloween stores, and this guy's like, "Hey, that didn't used to be Spirit Halloween," and then he starts driving by, and he's like, "Hey, that didn't used to be Spirit Halloween. Where are these coming from?" And he's going to visit his like grandma's house, and the grandma's house is Spirit Halloween, and she goes, "Welcome to Spirit Halloween." No. Everything is Spirit Halloween.
Brooke, you probably don't quite know about that whole thing with the Spirit Halloween, do you?
No, that sounds like a very American thing.
So Spirit Halloween is it's just this Halloween store.
Okay.
And they pop up everywhere, like usually a month or two before Halloween.
Right.
And
okay.
they just start like renting up for the next like 2-3 months all the abandoned buildings, all the open spaces.
Right.
And they just like, and they don't put up like proper signage. They just slap like banners and stuff everywhere.
Yeah,
and
just a giant tarp that's a Spirit Halloween with a little Grim Reaper.
Yeah, and you go
and
in
it's everywhere.
And it's they just like completely like just flood the shelves with a bunch of Halloween stuff,
Cool.
decorations to all this, and it's nuts. They pop up for like 2-3 months and then they disappear.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. You got to give whoever thought that idea like amazing credit in consumerism, right?
Correct.
Because we're just going to rent out a space and like slap a bunch of crap and here's all this for a couple of months. See ya. Yeah. And there's probably like a warehouse somewhere.
They probably have a handful of staff, and then they'll take it up as a temp job, and then they'll hire on a bunch of temp people to because it's very basic stuff, just scan
sales,
scan and sales, and boom, 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 you crank out, however much money they make during the holiday season. Well, Halloween
that's pretty
season.
cool. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
But you don't see them anywhere else. They don't pop. They literally pop up and disappear.
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
The crazy thing is you don't even see them setting up or building anything. It's just open.
It just appears.
Yeah, it's disturbing. And like one day it'll just not be there. Like November 5th, it's just gone.
You walk in one day and they're dumping all their stock like the day after Halloween.
Yeah,
and then like a week later you show up, it's just a cleaned up building.
That's pretty cool.
Like they were never there. Ooh.
But do you have any other, I guess, stuff you wanted to kind of questions, Red?
I guess I kind of wanted to cover my whole thing with the origin of the jack-o'-lantern that I was posting in the chat.
Yeah, I saw you put in some stuff. Yeah, if you wanted to share.
So it's pretty neat, and actually I forgot a lot, but a lot of things I saw online just here recently during the chat was it was kind of a thing, and during the mischief night that people would do the pumpkins or the turnips or whatever, like on poles, and they dress them up. And it was either like when they're out doing their crazy nonsense, or it'd be people posting them up by their doors, basically saying like, leave us alone. Don't like break our windows down. Right.
Brilliant.
But yeah. And apparently I didn't know this, but apparently the Scottish people, like a particular area, they were the ones that started the whole jack-o'-lantern thing, because everybody else was doing turnips. So I guess we can thank the Scottish people for the jack-o'-lantern thing.
Yeah, that and golf, man. Awesome. Yeah, it's good stuff.
What would they do with the turnips? Like, did they just put them out?
It was part of the weird, like, keep the spirits away kind of stuff. They'd put it on a pole, and they had like a weird chant and everything. It was.
You can't carve a turnip, I don't think.
No,
you can.
Maybe it's more like garlic, except more on season.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to look it up later, I think if you look up anything on Salkin, the holiday, you can kind of get like a more roundabout idea of what's going on there. But
fascinating.
Right. Yeah.
And I never looked into the pumpkin thing. That's interesting. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, like I said earlier, like there are Christians that I knew that try to like co-opt it as, the Holy Spirit comes to live in your heart. So they're like opening up the pumpkin, they put a little candle in and your heart and lights up your life. And I'm thinking like, as it's like this, the typical jack-o'-lantern look, like, hey, I'm like
a scary face.
Yeah, I mean See, like the traditional generic like jack-o'-lantern look to me is not like scary. It's just like kind of just borderline creepy. It's just kind of like, because it's the mouth.
As scary as a pumpkin could really be, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah. No,
it's not exactly an ominous fruit,
Some people really go above and beyond and make some pretty scary looking pumpkins. I'll give them that. But,
sure.
But yeah, there's not much really to that.
Amos, your thing just makes me think of like the weird Jewish like mud golem magic, where you're like giving it spirit, and that's like tainted, right? Right. So
That
I
don't
mean,
know.
He probably doesn't know that the golem, the Jews created a clay man and they endowed it with their life spirit, and it came to life.
But that was it's
also a D&D thing,
Yeah, it's a Jewish fable. It comes from the Talmud and stuff like that. Like,
and
just how God created us from mud,
I
the
should
rabbis
know.
created a man from mud.
I think it's supposed to be like a tale of warning, not to like have God's power or something, right?
Yeah. Eventually, it turns on them and it kills them and stuff. Yeah.
It's like Tower of Babel, but cooler.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it has at least an 18 strength,
Yeah.
Wow.
Minimum.
Next episode is D&D of the Devil.
There we go. There we go.
And then Pokemans.
Don't forget those Yugi Mans too.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh got
times.
the worst of it because they had like literal pentagrams on their pictures and stuff.
Real quick, talking about that, he came from a super Christian household. There was a solution for that. Apparently, there was these things called redemption cards.
Ooh.
Yes,
In
and it had
Yu-Gi-Oh?
just like this weird substitute for Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, Christian
Card
kosher.
called Redemption, and it had like it has like different scenes, and devils are the bad ones, and it has the angels and things. It's funny to look at.
That's
it's
crazy.
like some real edgy kid comes to church. Yeah, bet you guys can't beat my demon deck.
Pretty much. I just looked at this and I'm like, oh my God, this is cancer, but this is amazing, man.
That's crazy. I mean, I've seen it.
Christians can do one thing. It's cringe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, we mentioned about the yoga before, and I remember somebody gave me, because I used to do P90X, and one of the exercises you did with P90X was like a yoga day. Like, they had the yoga stuff. And it wasn't like all spiritual, it's all fitness, right? And somebody's like, oh no, that's of the devil. And they gave me some Christian yoga DVD. And I'm like, all right.
That's by angels and babies. And
it's like, all right, let's see what this is. And I mean, and it's like a grandma is doing it. You have it as a fitness video. You got the lead instructor, and you got like a couple people following behind, and it's some granny at 70 behind her that's doing it. And it's like, she's not gonna get a workout from this. How the hell am I gonna get a workout from this? And it's not like the body can twist in any particular unique way. There's only so many ways the body can bend. So I thought that was just crazy, absolute cringe.
Just watch out for the snakes in your spine, man.
Yeah.
them Kundalini, man. Kundalini's serious.
Snake spine.
That have to
Sounds
be
like a really bad energy
of,
drink.
like the devil in the world, or something we'll have to touch on, like just how everything has the devil woven into it. Like,
well, yeah,
good
Christians believe in the devil, and God is kind of, a second afterthought in a lot of ways, in practice, because everything is evil. The devil is everywhere. You're struggling to be good in church, and some kid is becoming like some satanic warrior by playing Magic the Gathering or something. It's easier to be dark and evil than to actually be a Christian. That's what they actually believe, whether they admit it or not.
I'm a level 50 Death Knight in Magic now. So back up.
Oh, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I've got demons in my house.
Demon Master.
Bro, you got demons in your house. Look at all my books. Jesus. I got a full choir of demons over here.
Well, what are they singing?
Awful things.
Yeah. We're gonna do some more of our. I think we should go into our final thoughts. Unless there's anything.
Red Crusader, always good to have you, man. We appreciate you in the chat. Thanks for joining us, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see you. We'll see you later. So, final thoughts, everyone.
Well, for me, I think a good way to wrap it up is it's not about the child you sacrificed to Satan. It's about the friends you made along the way.
That's a very conk thing to say. Amen.
Like I'm just imagining like 10, 15 like dark hooded guys that are like they all of a sudden just unhood themselves and are like, maybe it was really about the the friends as they're like carving up like something we'll just say.
He's screaming
friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
They're all tearing up, looking at each other. I love you guys, as they're saying this. Demonic. Yeah, there's like a demonic bass like, in their voice.
Yeah, well, the guy's pondering it. So the guy comes up with his hand on his shoulder, puts his hand on his shoulder, and goes, "Yeah, man, yeah, happy Halloween."
It's like an early 2000s teen drama. Some edgy music in the background.
That's crazy. Oh, we got the mindless chef in the chat. What's going on, Neil? Good to see you, bro.
But
final thoughts, Amos. What do you think?
Oh, Halloween is awesome.
I think we need to take you out for Halloween. I think you need to
I've done the Halloween stuff. It's just I didn't do like the traditional like trick-or-treating.
That's the big one though.
That's the big one, yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of the point.
I've been to some, events and stuff and seen we'll just say the interesting outfits. Halloween just becomes, I think Halloween is pretty much, Christmas a close second in some ways. It kind of becomes that good excuse for women to dress up in interesting ways, we'll say. As Christians would consider to be, not so godly ways.
But to be fair, that's how they dress even when they're not dressing up for Halloween.
What I'm saying is like they have more of it, not that they can't have an excuse. It's almost like they have more of an excuse.
Sure.
They kind of justify it more like, I'm a cat, I'm a witch or something.
I'm a sexy nurse or a sexy nun.
Yeah. Like, oh, right. As opposed to, your day job where you dress up as a sexy nurse. What? Slap. But
I say you get a costume and you dress up for Halloween. Maybe not this year because of COVID, but
I think I've done costumes before. It's just been a while since I never did a proper full on, putting work into a costume. I think I told you once I had this crazy idea for a really triggering costume. I was gonna do because for what I've been named in the past, I people call me names on different things. I've had people call me Nazi. I've had people call me commie.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. So my whole crazy costume idea was the half and half, half Hitler, half Mao Zedong.
Friends are friends forever.
Yeah.
But it would be wait, what? It's because because I'm half white, and obviously all white people are racist Nazis and Chinese, and so obviously I'm misunderstood to be Chinese, proper Chinese, a communist. So it'd be his half and half thing. It might not go so well. It would have to be really up, that'd be a really high too heady kind of costume. Just gotta go with I'd probably just go with something real basic like a
Harley Quinn.
Exactly.
The most basic Halloween costume for girls. Or you can go Elsa if you want to go a little more wholesome from Frozen.
Oh my god.
She's still trendy, right?
Yeah, I'll go as Elsa for Halloween, everyone. That's not emasculating at all. But yeah, it's even now with this more well-rounded understanding of the holidays that are considered to be demonic or demonic in origin, because pagan equals demonic, of course. I still like kind of just because I'm like grown up now, I didn't really get to go back and try it, do these different things. So maybe I'll have to do that in the next few years. So we'll see.
Maybe. And if at some point you have kids, you'll be, taking them out there, you'll be doing it then, and
outdo them with costumes and such. So, final thoughts, Brooke.
Final thoughts. Yeah, interesting discussion. Good talk. I think we hit on all the major points. Can't really add very much to what Conk kind of closed us out with. I think that's kind of really the cherry on the topic, cherry on top sort of thing. But yeah, I think for the most part, people, if you're struggling with this topic and you're probably not as confident in, the whole God is everything, Christ is in you, you are in Christ, and you're struggling with it, yeah, okay, don't take part. But as Heather was saying, when she was younger, her parents got into it, they had that kind of position, and we grow. And you will grow as well, your faith will grow, and you'll come to realize there's nothing to fear with any of these things. Yeah. You'll be fine. So go and live your life.
You throw on your horns, you throw on your tail, you hold up a pitchfork, you say as above, so below. You're good to go.
Hey, that right.
There you
You're
go.
a poet. You didn't even realize it.
Exactly. For everyone that's probably wondering, yeah, as above, so below is one of those like satanic phrases, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know it. I don't know that one.
You didn't know that one?
No, I don't know that one.
A former Satanist doesn't. Yeah,
I never got into the magic side of it. I was just there for the naked chicks.
As above, so below is kind of like their version of like as it is in heaven as it is on earth.
No, I don't know that one.
It's kind of like one. Yeah. Anyways, so okay, so thanks everyone for joining us. Because we got Conk's final
Next
thoughts.
week.
Yes,
Conk will be taking over next week. Do we have an idea of the topic?
I have a couple. We'll see if I can get a guest in or not. That'll decide.
Awesome.
Then we'll get actual, then that will actually be the Halloween episode. Are we gonna dress up for that episode?
I might just wear yoga pants,
Okay.
It's
that
November
count?
1st, so we're the day after. Yeah, it's all right.
What?
We can do that.
Yeah. Just be our
But,
leftover drunk
no,
versions of our
No, it's the
costume.
25th. Yeah,
It's the 25th, yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So
We'll figure it out.
Oh,
we will see everyone. Of course, check out all the links below for all of our channels. Subscribe to all of them so you can stay up to date on when our next Religion Zero will be on. And of course, do stay a little bit, so you'll be checking out the 10K Run podcast. We're gonna have TJ Martinell from Masculine Geek coming on, since we missed him when we had our Masculine Geek episode. Yeah, do check us out next week, guys, on the show here, and we will see everyone later.